I'd like to read to you Psalm 22, the right side, that second row, Psalm 22, verse 17. Follow with me. For dogs have encompassed me, a company of evildoers have enclosed me. Like a lion, they're at my hands and my feet. Who is that speaking about?
Okay, hang on just a sec. I just want to say, I love that he adds this. He says, like a lion, they're at my hands and my feet. If he's going to take this interpretation, it's not like a lion, they're at my hands and my feet. He has now supplied they're at. What the Hebrew would actually say, he's supplied that. What the Hebrew would actually say, to take this interpretation, would be, like a lion, my hands and my feet, which gives the text zero, it has no flow to it. It's nonsense. It doesn't make any sense. Like a lion, my hands and my feet. What in the world does that mean? Okay, so back to Tovia.
Enclosed me, like a lion, they're at my hands and my feet. Who is that speaking about? Let's try that one more time. I'd like you to sweep your eyes over to the left side of that row. And I'm going to read that exact same verse to you, but how it appears in a King James Version Bible, in a typical Christian Bible. It would make almost no difference which Christian Bible you would use in this case. Follow along with me now. As you can see, it's now Psalm 22, verse 16, but it is the same passage.
And he explains why the numbering's off. Okay, but the numbering is off. So if you're reading Hebrew Bible, it's going to be one more verse. So this is 16. It's in the English. It's 17 in the Hebrew.
Dogs have compassed me. The assembly of the wicked have enclosed me. They pierced my hands and my feet. What key word has been mistranslated? The word is ka'ari. What does the word ka'ari mean? Like a lion. The word ari means a lion. Ka'ari means like a lion. So what you've got here a big screen here, Microsoft Word. You take the word like a lion, you select it with your mouse. You have now white letters on a blue background. You tap the delete key, they disappear, and you insert the word they pierced, and suddenly you have a brand new message. You have a message of the cross. How do you dare tamper with my Bible? How do you alter the Jewish scriptures? And if you're going to play with my text, you think I'm going to get baptized, convert to Christianity, destroy my relation with my God, my people, my heritage over Bible tampering?
Okay, and here's the interesting thing, is that Tovia Singer right now, in this quote, is not being honest with his audience.
Not at all.
Not at all. In fact, he's duping his audience, and he's doing so out of spite for the Christian faith. I want to read you just the beginning of this article by my father. And basically these things were easy.
Dr. Peter Flint, too.
Exactly. And so the reason I keep going back to my father is because he's basically touched on all of these subjects, and he's written extensively on them. This is from Psalms 22:16, like a lion, or they pierce my hands. You can find all of my father's stuff on TorahResource.com. This article is under English articles. Okay, hang on, let me cough. I'm going to read the beginning of this for everyone. An ancient controversy has surfaced once again in our times. It revolves around the text of Psalm 22:16, verses 17 in Hebrew. In the Hebrew Masoretic text, and let's talk about this real quick. So the Masoretes, we've talked about the Masoretic text before on this show. The Masoretes, who are they? They are rabbis scribes more than rabbis. They're scribes who copied Hebrew texts. And one of the things that they did was they kept the tradition of the pointing. When we say pointing, we mean vowels. Unlike English, the vowels within the Hebrew text are not necessary. And so you don't have to have them to be able to read the text. The Masoretes wrote down different vowels and whatnot, but they did so not in the Torah scrolls. They did so in books and Sephirot and whatnot. Anyway, so the earliest that we have, jog my memory, Rob. What's the earliest that we have? The earliest witness that we have of the Masoretes pointing in a Masoretic text.
Probably 6th to 7th century.
Okay, 6th to 7th century.
Common era.
Common era. Okay, and then what happens? They decide in the 10th century, the beginning of the 10th century, late 9th century, early 10th century, they decide that they're going to standardize the text. They decide that there's too many different schools of Masoretes. And so what they do is they take all of the texts that aren't from one specific school, and they either bury them or they put them into genizas. And so these are rooms which they wall up so that nobody knows that they're there. Okay, and basically they get rid of all these texts. And so now they have a standardized text, which is the 10th century text that we now have. Okay, and we actually have two main schools of Masoretic texts that are witnessed to. But the earliest that we have really of the Masoretic text is the 10th century CE,
right.
Common Era. Okay, so when he talks about this, is what he's talking about when he says the Masoretes. In the Hebrew Masoretic text, the verse reads, "For dogs have encircled me, an evil congregation surrounded me, like a lion, my hands and my feet." Once again, if you haven't figured it out, I'm back to my father's article. The Septuagint translation, however, did not read the Hebrew word ka'ari, okay, like a lion, but rather ka'aru, they dug. And thus they translated the word with the Greek word oruxon, they dug.
Oruxon, good.
Or they pierced. Yes, my Greek, those of you who don't know, Rob is actually my Greek teacher. As we speak, I'm in his Greek class, so I got to try to show off a little bit here. So they dug or they pierced. The difference was whether the original word ended with a vav or a yod. So there's only one, where Mr. Singer here tries to tell us that we actually the Christians came in, they erased this word and they put in a different word. How dare you tamper with my Bible? Actually, what the difference is between ka'ari and ka'aru is a yod from a vav. Anyone who's taken Hebrew knows that the only difference between a yod and a vav is about half of a line. It's whether you stop the line short or you extend the line down to, your invisible line down here. That's the only difference. Just one little tail. A straight tail at that, okay? And so I'll keep going with my father's article here. Virtually all English translations, except those offered by the Jewish publications, have followed the Septuagint translation instead of the Masoretic text, giving us the well-known phrase, "They pierced my hands and my feet." To some, this appeared as an obvious example of Christians translators choosing to follow the Septuagint because it fit their messianic interpretation of the passage, disregarding the clear regarding of the Hebrew original. What is more, the Septuagint was accused of changing the original to bolster the Christian interpretation of the Psalms. Unfortunately, the Psalms scroll found at Qumran did not include Psalm 22:16, 17 in the Hebrew, because the manuscript was damaged at the very place where it would have appeared. The pre-Masoretic text seemed lost forever. That is, until recently. Scraps from a scroll containing some of the Psalms were discovered at Nechal Hever, and one scrap contained the line from Psalm 22:16 with the word in question well in view. Though the writing on the scrap was faint under the magnification, it was easy to see and decipher. The word clearly ended in a vav and not a yod, and was therefore a third-person plural word. They dug or they pierced. This is Dead Sea Scrolls.
Right.
So this is 1,300 years before Tovia Singer's Masoretic text that he is now reading out of.
So ka'ari is as a lion. Ari is the word for lion.
Yes.
Karu, without an aleph, but a vav at the end. They pierced.
Not an aleph, a yod.
Or a vav at the end.
Yeah.
What I mean, karu has no aleph in it, though, at all.
Correct.
The spelling in Masoretic text is kaf, aleph, resh, yod.
So, no, wait, hang on. I'm going to have to disagree with you on this one. It looks like the picture that I'm looking at of Ka'aru is Kaf, Aleph, Resh, Vav. And
Do you have the Dead Sea Scroll one?
Yep.
Okay.
So it's Kaf, Aleph,
I thought
Resh.
I didn't think there was an aleph. There's a vav in there though.
Yeah. So the only difference between these two words is a yod at the end and a vav at the end. That's the only difference.
There is some manuscript that has karu without an aleph. which means they pierced also. So there's a Hebrew manuscript.
That I don't disagree with you on.
What's that?
That I don't disagree with you on. I'm
Okay,
sure you're
so
much.
in other words,
yeah.
and aside from that, we have three different ancient translations from Greek that all take they pierced, they shackled, or they fettered. They sought to fetter or bind my hands and my feet. Nothing about a lion. So we have the main Septuagint, and then we have the what they call the Aquila translation, which is supposedly done by a Jewish person and used in the synagogues. Aquila, which is they shackled. In other words, they were still trying to make sense of it, but it had nothing to do with a lion. And those are our most ancient witnesses. So it's possible that the scribes put the yod there instead of vav. It seems like that. But I think the point is we've got a big, huge textual history and set of witnesses on the table, and Singer is preventing his audience from seeing that.
Well, what Singer is trying to make it sound as if the Christians changed it to make it a messianic text, and actually the evidence points the opposite.
To the opposite, exactly.
The evidence points to the scribes, the Jewish non-believing scribes, changing it to like a lion from they pierced to make it not be a messianic text, and probably because Christians were using this text, and they have ever since the Messiah came, to prove that Yeshua is the Messiah. And so, it's a little bit offensive that Singer is so bold in saying we changed his text, and how dare you change my text? How dare you not, Mr. Singer, how dare you not be honest with your audience and show the truth of what the text says?